Previously on Bleach. So, like, Kenpachi Zaraki was weakened in his fight with Gremmy, so the four Sternritter girls ambushed him and managed to beat him into a carpet stain on the floor, like, totally. But then Ichigo shows up to defend him, and then the four Sternritter girls act like, oh, well, you can't be stopping us because we're just so freaking cutie awesome. And then Ichigo manages to bitch slap them all on the walls, and Candace's hair gets messed up, and she's like, oh, you did not totally just do that, bitch. And she strikes him with a lightning bolt, but Ichigo's, like, so super hunky awesome One Direction that he manages to block it, and he looks like he's gonna do something really cool, but then we cut over to Yuha Bak, and he looks like he's gonna do something really cool, but, like, we don't even find out in this chapter. Like, what the hell's with that?
Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, here to review Bleach chapter number 583, entitled The Headless Star 2. You know, I need a running gag. I'm surprised I haven't come up with one already for whenever Kubo does the multiple number chapter titles, like the tracks of music. I need to come up with a running gag for that. I've been doing this for over 100 freaking chapter reviews, and yet I've not figured out something to, you know, like they call that shit dance. I mean, I don't think we're going to get a chance to do it in this video. I mean, we're a little bit pressed for time, but yeah, just comment below on what I could do for that, because I really would like to do something with that. So anyway, chapter starts off with not following up on the whole Askinak Levar Yuha Bak thing. You know, I thought Kubo was going to address what that was all about. Not like he had to really go and explain every single thing, like, oh my god, it turns out Askin's really Aizen in disguise, or holy shit, it turns out that Yuha is going to do something, like, really devastating to the entire Vanite. But you could have elaborated on it a little bit. I guess I just got spoiled with reading Toriko past couple of weeks, where it ended with a main villain that we haven't seen for a little bit, and, you know, he was off doing something weird, and then I thought, like, oh, well, next chapter we're gonna exposit on what he was doing. And hey, guess what? He did! So, I guess I just got spoiled with Toriko, whatever. So, chapter starts off with the Sternritter girls. We only focus on Lilito, though, firing off their Quincy bows, highly profiles toward Ichigo. And oh, hey, check that out. Their arrows look like little collectible keychains that you'd see like a Japanese schoolgirl put on their cell phones. Yeah, it's like collect all four, folks. Angry Chompy, Happy Heart, Crazy Zombie, and Lightning Bolt Larry. I don't freaking know. Anyway, so we get Ichigo there, who's being fired upon very rapidly, who doesn't really seem to be showing a lot of distress. Did I remember to tell Izumi that I wasn't going to be at work in the next couple of weeks? At the title page, as we see that all the arrows managed to pretty much level the entire area of the Vanite they were in, as I'm sure we all know. It's kind of sad from a third-person perspective, because in this fight, from the Sternritter girls, they're like, okay, it's 4-on-1. He might be the head of the war potentials, but we got this. And they think they can actually win. But from a third-person omnipotent perspective, which is the reader, which is you and me, we all know these girls have about as much chance of beating Ichigo at this point in time than Hanataro has to go up against Yamamoto's 4-stage Bankai. It's not gonna go very smoothly. So kind of a funny scene here. We see Candace get slammed into another building, which you know she has to be just like, okay, this whole getting slammed into the wall like a freaking ragdoll routine's really getting freaking old. Boom, boom, boom. And then we have the other three girls effectively use her as a cushion. Lilito's funny, though. She, she stomps right in Candace's face, you know, just like, oh, what the hell, oh, what the hell, oh, what the hell, come on, are you freaking doing this on purpose? So, yeah, so she gets even more pissed off and emits a lightning discharge from her area there. And, I love Giselle's emotions in this chapter, like the emoticon she pulls off, okay? Because the entire time in this chapter, no matter what Ichigo does to her, even if it's when, you know, she gets chucked into a building and actually gets injured, well, you know, injured is kind of a subjective point of view when it comes to Giselle Guel, but even when she's getting thrown around, she has that, like, expression on her face, and she's still playing with her little hair tentacle Suzaku things, and, you know, she's so carefree. Just freaking cool, man. So, in the midst of when Candace is having her little tantrum, the other three girls are trying to figure out some kind of, you know, something to do against Ichigo here, and Giselle's just like, oh, wow, he's pretty strong. Lilito's just like, well, we haven't eaten in a while, so our arrows probably aren't going to be packing much of a punch either. I don't know if that's something just for her. Probably, I would assume, since she's the glutton, you know, the more she eats, the stronger she becomes. That's just kind of a given, but I don't think that really, you know, really applies to the other girls. I think it's just her talking. Also, have you noticed that Lilito's kind of being the de facto strategist slash tactician in this fight? Like, every single time the other girls, like, don't know what to do or have no idea what's going on, Lilito's always the voice of reason. It's just like, well, that makes sense that he was able to toss us all into buildings. He's freaking Ichigo Kurosaki, you know? Also, I'm starting to get the idea that Ichigo's only doing that to not to avoid fighting them, because this is like the third time he's done like the grab throw routine, like the over like suplex, just like get over here. You know, that kind of crap. So maybe that's because he doesn't want to use his swords, because if he has like an option with like, okay, if either I use my blades and kill you, or I just like kind of like toss you around, like maybe I'll do that because I don't want to hurt girls, because, you know, he's still, I guess Ichigo still has a thing against that. I really wouldn't, because if this was a guy, you'd figure he'd just break out the swords and just cut him in half. I'm just saying. Well, while all three of them are trying to figure out a strategy to take Ichigo down, Candace decides just to Mega Evolve right to her Volt Standing, and execution is the final verdict. You know, that would be a little bit more intimidating if we haven't seen her Volt Standing a little while ago, like back when Bambietta was fighting against Sajin. There we go, Sajin. When I guess Candace had it reflexively activated just because sensing of Bambietta's Ryatsu, that kind of led credence to believe like they all had like some kind of connection, like they were multiple personalities or something. That's clearly not the case anymore. But at any rate, Candace, I'm sorry, your Volt Standing doesn't really do anything to really intimidate me when I've already seen it before. What the hell is that cloud doing? Okay, it's cool. I wouldn't be the great manga reviewer I am if I wouldn't be able to withstand a couple of lightning bolts. Par for the course for this kind of job. Okay. There we go. Alright, so, the funny thing is here, as I could just see a difference between the genders, is that in any other situation, when one of the members of a group goes in, like, their badass final form, and the other guys are looking around, they just be like, oh, damn, that guy's getting serious, he's doing this, he's all pumped up, ready for battle, he's gonna rip your fucking throat out. But with a group of girls, we have the kind of reaction like, oh, seriously? I don't like using Volt Standing, it's, like, so tiring. No matter how annoying this gets, Candace, I'm not sure slaughtering is like the best idea. Like, really, can you be any more tacky? Oh, that's great, girls. I really missed being in high school. So anyway, she decides to try to persuade the other three to her way of thinking, to figure, like, well, if we all go Volt Standing at the same time, like, this guy made fools out of us. If we all attack him at the same time, full power, we gotta at least scratch the dude. Now, once again, third-person perspective, we know that's not gonna freaking fly. If all four of these girls whip out freaking morphers and go Power Ranger mode and summon their Zords, and like a giant robot steps on Ichigo, we still know it's not gonna do anything to the guy. But at least Candace is trying to think of, like, okay, well, if we all work together, we could maybe do this. And the other girls are just like, it's like, that doesn't really bother me too much. I'm guessing you really don't have to worry about that. So, you know, whatever, Griselda strikes the pose. So, whatever, I guess Candace is just on her own here. Sorry, Cheeky, you're probably not going to win this. I really don't think you're going to have any shot against Ichigo. Maybe you should just regroup your strategy and maybe think, oh, son of a... Okay, that one kind of felt that. All right, continuing. But anyway, she sort of kind of persuades them to her way of thinking when she mentions that, hey, you know whatever Yuha's gonna do to the Stern Ritter that manages to take out Ichigo fucking Kurosaki? Probably gonna give him or her anything that they want in this world. To which we have a flash of Menelus, I guess, just wanting to live in abject luxury. Then we have Liloto, who just wants food, obviously. And then we have Giselle, who just... is, you know, you might be saying that she doesn't want anything, that this is just like the black void, like her, like she's so airheaded that she really doesn't think of anything. My bet, though, is that Kubo couldn't actually put what she wanted to dream up, so he just put like a big sensor bar over it there. So, let me just go and try to remove the safety filter and see what we got. Well, that was completely horrifying. Anyway, even though they all think of different things that they would love to have if they take Ichigo down, they still don't really go and try to help Candace. If nothing else, I think Candace just sent them into a massive Amazon wish list buying spree, or in the Loto's case, a grocery shopping spree, whatever. So then she just charges at Ichigo all by herself because it works so well the first 4 times you tried it. Oh, Ichigo's like, have that smug grin. He's just like, oh, okay, we're doing this. All right, bring it on, bitch, we got this. Anyway, she pulls out one of her wings, which is actually a physical manifestation of a lightning bolt in the shape of a lightning bolt. Oh, come on, Candace, really? Now that's just going too cliche. Your Stern Ritter T, the Thunderbolt, and your primary weapon of choice are lightning swords. Okay, that makes sense. That's pretty cool. But they're in the shape of actual thunderbolts, like you'd something see out of Pokemon. I mean, come on, Chica. That's getting a little bit... Aha! I think I'm gonna go lie down for a while. Huh, you use dual wield, huh? Well, it's a good thing that I'm also dual wielding.
Fucking posers.
Ha, you idiot! I'm septuple wielding! Galvano Javelin! Okay, so after Candace uses her, whatever, Galvano lightning attack, hey, isn't those attacks supposed to be moving at, like, the speed of lightning? Like, if that's the case, that's like 3,000 miles per second. Whatever, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, Ichigo pulls out his Bowie knife, right? And we think we might finally get to see a new technique of some such. So then he does a little streak in the air, and then we get Getsuga Tensho. Okay, no, okay, stop, okay. Granted, a couple of my brain cells are on the deep fried side at the moment, but we're not doing this. You do not do this to us. You do not break out a freaking normal technique, okay? You might be thinking like, oh, well, maybe we gotta start off slow. We gotta show his new techniques off gradually. No, fuck that. We've seen Getsuga Tensho 18 million times in the freaking series, okay? I'm calling this something new. Mini Getsuga Tensho. It's not a great freaking attack name, but at least it's better than what we got. Okay, so his mini Getsuga Tensho manages to completely block and disapparate Candace's Galvano Javelin thing. I guess you maybe even could call it like Getsuga Shield, because that's kind of what it was. But anyway, she looks at that and she's still not getting a freaking hint here. She just thinks that, oh, well, that attack, that Galvano Javelin, that was freaking weak. So she raises her hand from like to summon a lightning bolt from on high, and she completely gets engulfed in the freaking energy. It's literally like emitting off of her, and we have like even from her eyes, it's like discharging like the freaking ray guy. Yeah, remember the Ray guy? That was actually a pretty decent arc, Kenpachi versus Kenpachi, that actually kind of happened in the recent arc with the, Lloyd. So hey, maybe we got that animated at least before the anime got canceled. Anyway, so we have Ichigo here who's just standing like that, and he's not even really saying anything, and Candace is going on her dribble. He's like, don't just stand there trying to look all cool. I'll freaking nuke you with this ultimate electric attack, Electrocution! Oh, I get it. It's like electrocution, but it's electrocution. Like, he's being executed by electricity. It's kind of like that society that was introduced in the last arc. What was it named again? It was called Execution. And by the way, Candace, yeah, we have a patent on that name, and that's borderline copyright infringement. Watch yourself, Chica. Just watch yourself. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. You can start your own firework business with that. Actually, let me give you your first gig. Ichigo emits like a little stream of energy from his swords, and then he, boom! Ultimate technique, Getsuga Jujitsu! Just for yucks, I had the idea, like, Ichigo's gonna pull out these swords, and he's gonna be like, get ready, Stern Ritters, this is my new technique. 2 Getsuga Tenshos at the same time, or an X-shaped Getsuga Tensho. That's my amazing new power, which, hey, that might legitimately happen, alright? There's sometimes doing this job where I honestly feel like it's a little bit of a chore. There's sometimes when I'm reviewing a chapter that I really don't feel that involved, or I really don't feel like that, connected with, like it's just kind of filler. But then there's other times when I honestly feel like I'm a goddamn genius. So for that all being said, picture, caption, awesome music. Oh yeah. I called it. Oh, by the way, some people out there in Internet Milan might be saying something along the lines of, oh, Tekking, that wasn't an X-shaped Getsuga Tensho. That was a cross-shaped Getsuga Tensho. You get it? Because Ichigo's part Quincy, so therefore the blast actually kind of looks like the Quincy. No. It's the same thing when you look at a diamond and say, that's not really a square. It kind of is. All depends on perspective. It's an X. I win. Alright, so Ichigo does that attack on Candace, and I'm guessing that freaking disintegrated her. I really don't care. But yeah, so a couple of things, though, to note about this, other than the fact that the blast actually made it like a Quincy cross. Like, that really doesn't really do anything other than, cement the fact that Ichigo's powers are, Quincy-based as well, as long with that. Also, though, I had to bring up the way he exactly used Getsuga Tensho, because remember, when Ichigo always used Getsuga, this has been, like, retconned, I think, a couple of times, because it's not always like this, but I think when he fought against Byakuya, initially, it was like he swings his sword and then it gathers his Ryatsu, or like the Ryatsu around him, which, hey, maybe that was indicating Quincy powers all the way back then. And then with his second slash, he releases like the burst of energy. Now, like I said, when I say retconned, I mean like there's sometimes when he just has to swing it once and it just releases the energy, like when he fought against Ginjo, that's how that works. But in this chapter, though, he seemed to kind of materialize the path first and then, blast it outward. Like when he used his Bowie knife, he didn't exactly just use Getsuga Tensho show to block the Galvano javelin. He just, like, streamed it, and then he released it. So maybe it's like now he can, like, cement out the path that it's going to take. Like, maybe he can do, like, a bunch of different shapes. So instead of just having an X-shaped Getsuga Tensho, he could, like, make one that's, like, I don't know, a zigzag. I don't freaking know. I'm just trying to come up with some new attack names here. But hey, Getsuga Jujisho, since this is like the first attack Ichigo's like had that's new pretty much ever. Like, honestly, like, think about the powers. Like, let's not talk about Sero because he can't use that. Let's not talk about that thing where he contained it in his story. He didn't even name that. So yeah, ever since his fight against Byakuya, just strictly talking about his Zanpakuto and not referring to Final Getsuga or anything, this is his first new technique that he could just pull out whenever. That's honestly kind of sad. We're chapter 583 in this series. Yeah, whatever. Another thing to bring up is Jujisho. Wasn't that like Yamamoto's nickname because he got the scar on the top of his head? I know it was Ju something because the scar ended up making the kanji for the symbol 10, for the number 10. But that's just a reference I found. That's nothing to go with Ichigo's power. But yeah, pretty much all that really cemented this chapter was the fact that Ichigo's a badass. And that Candace might be dead. Either of those things we kind of already knew about 2 chapters ago when Ichigo first showed up. So I don't know what's going to go down next chapter. If the other girls are going to realize, okay, yeah, there's nothing we can do about this guy. Let's go talk to Yuha. Maybe we should let him know what's going on in here. Or if they're going to all go their Volt standing in now and try to take them all down at once. Maybe use Candace's death as a distraction because that seems like kind of like a low-life thing to do. But once again, with these girls, not really that far out of the ballpark for them to do something like that. But yeah, guys, other than that, thank you for watching. It was a fun review just for the epic rock out called that shit movement. So yeah, see you later. Tekking signing out. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here to give some awesome shoutouts to some YouTubers that I know you're gonna, hey, where are you going? Where are you going? Hey bro, get back. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna listen to my shoutouts. Alright, first shoutout comes from a YouTuber that I've actually known for a very long time, and he honestly deserves some more subs. I mean, I'm liable to say that because I'm giving shoutouts now, but honestly, no, this guy does deserve a lot of subs, okay? He does manga reviews, he does reviews of Game of Thrones, Penny Dreadful, new series, I can't remember what channel that's on, but he does reviews of that too. He's just an all-around awesome guy, and I think he only has around 500 subs, so maybe we can go help him out. He's Anime Rick, so go check him out, go sub to him. He does really put out some really cool shit. Also, I mentioned this in a review earlier this week, but just to kind of cement it again, I've been using the word cement it a lot in this review, whatever, is a new gaming channel by Jim's Nerd Nation. Most of you might be already aware of Jim. He puts out some pretty cool stuff. He does chapter-by-chapter reviews of One Piece, Toriko, and Hunter x Hunter, and Naruto as well. Also, he's been doing reviews of Game of Thrones on a weekly basis, whenever that comes out, so go check him out. He has a new gaming channel. I think he's doing Wolfenstein 3D with his son, so that's pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff to watch. So yeah, go check out Anime Rick, Jim's Nerd Nation, and the new gaming channel for him, Nerd Nation Gaming, I believe it's called. So yeah, Tekking, signing out. Okay, yeah, you're bleeding. You might want to go to the hospital now, bro.